true freedom? Which is better, fame or integrity? Which is more valuable, riches or good character? Which is more dangerous, failure or success? Overindulgence creates waste. Hoarding invites loss. The person who is content with what they have is not in danger of loss. The person who knows when to stop is free to go on. That is chapter 44 of the Tao Te Ching, and I'm going to jump right into this one. Capitalism does not require accumulation or creation to excess. Consistent with the core principle of consent, each person is free to make that choice for themselves of how much they're going to accumulate, how much they're going to create, how much they're going to consume. Centralized control, planned governments, systems where some versions of consensual happiness are limited or punishable by law are, in all circumstances, less effective. They limit morality. They create friction with reality. Now, Taoism suggests a path which is possible in a capitalist framework. It is only someone who is content with what they have, who is free to say no to someone else's version of happiness, who can actually reach a point of stopping, and thus is free to go on in a way that brings them joy, happiness, fulfillment, satisfaction, all of the various many different things far beyond those that I can list in 5 minutes that create a meaningful life. And in interacting with a business, people are always free to say no. Overindulgence doesn't have to be a reality. Hoarding doesn't have to be what occurs. And businesses that businesses that fail to accommodate for that, they fall apart. No one is forced to purchase from them because they push something that's cheap, that's not valuable, that's not useful, that's not generative to positive results. The power in free exchange always rests with each person together. In other words, you might get a raw end of the deal, but you agreed to make the deal, and that's what happens. Sometimes life is imperfect. We make choices that aren't always in our best interest, but we can learn from them. We can move on. We can change, and ultimately the responsibility is ours for our own life. This is drastically different than interactions with a non-consensual system, often expressed in governmental force, which is distinctly non-capitalist. This happens all the time. Those in seats of power who create systems in which it is not possible to say no, where you have to accept someone else's version of happiness. Overindulgence creates waste. Hoarding invites loss. I'm failing to find the quote right now, but to paraphrase, and at some point I'll find the attribution and post it, that in the latter system in which consent is not respected, the negative decisions of a few can have terrible, terrible consequences on the lives of many. Whereas if we are living and acting in a consent-based way, rather our goal in our society and our laws are consensually based, we are limiting damages simply to the person making the bad decision. That doesn't in any way, shape, or form stop us from helping people learn, from being altruistic in its true sense, which is really just better expressed as compassion. To look at a different quote here by David Hume, he says there are just 3 laws of nature: the right of possession, transference by consent, and the performance of promises. These are the ultimate foundations of order that make possible markets and prosperity. Interestingly, as an aside, Hume died in 1776. Before this text was translated, the Tao Te Ching, into English. Knowing when to stop is incredibly important. But without the functional ability to do so, we've kind of given up the whole point. A functional society, a free society, one in which we can thrive now and future generations can thrive as well, is one that allows people to know when to stop and protects their ability to do so.